Good evening, everyone. Deputy Clerk Schultheis, could you read the preamble for us, please?
Yes, thank you. In accordance with the applicable statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinance of the city of Prospect Heights, notice is hereby given that the city council workshop meeting of the mayor and city council of the city of Prospect Heights being held on Monday, November 14, 2022 at 6:30 PM in person at the city council chambers, Prospect Heights City Hall, 8 North Elmhurst Road, Prospect Heights, Illinois, and simulcast on Zoom, acting mayor Matthew Dolick presiding. This meeting will be broadcast live on cable channels Comcast and WOW Channel 17 and AT&T U-verse Channel 99. It will also be recorded and televised on Comcast and WOW Channel 17 and AT&T U-verse 99. Attendees wishing to speak on agenda or non-agenda items will be provided an opportunity during the meeting. There will be a 5-minute time limit for speakers.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'd like to call to order the City Council Workshop Meeting held tonight, Monday, November 14th, 2022 at about 6:34 p.m., being held in the City Council chambers of Prospect Heights City Hall, located at 8 North Elmhurst Road in Prospect Heights. Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call to establish the quorum, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Alderman Dolick,
Here.
Alderman Ludvigson,
Here.
Alderman Cameron,
Here.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Here.
Alderman Dash.
Here.
All right, we do have all 5 members here, so we do have a quorum. Could we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance All right, thank you. The first order of business is the approval of minutes. Could I have a motion to approve the October 24th, 2022 City Council regular minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Ludvigson,
Aye.
Alderman Dolick.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is presentations. We do have a presentation this evening from Police Chief William Caponegro on the status of the city's police special services and social workers. Chief?
Sure, thank you, Mayor, staff, city council members. Let me just start with, I want to thank our social workers, Rebecca Rosario, who no longer works here. Casey is part-time. I've been an officer with the city for 24 years. I remember when we did not have social workers. And I know what it takes away from the police department if and when we have to drive somebody to court, assist them with an order of protection, follow-ups for domestic violence and things like that. But having said that, as chief of police, I began wondering how it is that they work for Omni, third party, and then we see them at the police station. And so when I started asking questions like, what exactly are your hours? I think that's a fair question. And where are you on this day and then on that day? And so to make a long story very short, and by the way, Omni does not pay social workers very well, which is why they do not have a candidate a month later for a full-timer. And when I say that, I'll just tell you, Rebecca was full-time, 38 and a half hours per week, was making about $45,000 a year. But she had the flexibility of their hours worked like this. She can work 7 hours today, 4 tomorrow, skip a day, work. There is no like a 9 to 5. And to be quite honest with you, we never knew exactly when they were going to be there. And then they don't submit their hours to the police department, they submit them to Omni. Omni doesn't ask us were they at work these days or these hours. And then so when I started to inquire about the hours, I would see 1 hour or a half hour or 2 hours, and I'd ask, well, what's this? And it's not that I did not trust. Honestly did not know they could be at home and receive a phone call from a client, and they work in 15-minute increments on the phone. And my opinion is, we all work 9 to 5s, and some of us do get a phone call after hours. Mr. Roscoe, you know, if there's a snowstorm coming, yeah, we're gonna call you, and but you don't just take a call from your citizens or your constituents at 7, 8 o'clock at night. So I was trying to make a statement by saying, listen, your hours are such and such. When you're home and having dinner with your family, why would you want to be interrupted by somebody who's calling you about a case? You tell them you call tomorrow during business hours. But basically, I think, and again, I've been here for that long, and I know the good work that they both have done. And they've done a great job. But it's pretty much reactive things that they're doing. And how can I, as chief of police, not know exactly where they're at? And I'm not talking about micromanaging. I'm talking about, well, you're 38 and a half hours a week, but you can work 4 hours today and 7 tomorrow. It just, honestly, it did not make sense. And then I realized, well, now I know why you would settle for less money, because you had great flexibility. If you have the flexibility to work 3 hours today and 8 or 11 some days, well then, okay, you can make less money. My vision for a social worker is, especially, and you all know about what's happening on the east side. And to be quite honest with you, most of the offenders on the east side, the gang members, are 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds. My vision is to have a social worker who is of that culture, Hispanic, young enough to be able to speak to these kids, to these parents. And we, as police officers, we identify, we know who these problem children are from the very get-go. And they always start in succession. They might be out there with the gang members, but not really doing anything. And then they might be drinking with them, and then they're smoking weed with them, and then they're selling drugs, and then they want to prove themselves, so they may shoot rival gang members' cars. So we identify them, and we all do as police officers. That's our job. We try to mentor them. We try to talk to them. However, when we talk to their parents, the kids bamboozle their parents by saying, oh, they're lying, oh, that's not true, they hate us, they're racist, this and that. I'm being quite honest with you all today. What I envision is a social worker. We have a substation on the east side that's never been used. The clients over on the east side could literally walk to there, meet with our social workers, with the family, not the police. There comes a time where the police have to take a step back and let the social workers do their job. And we don't want the parents to be influenced by what we or what we say, but the social worker who is trained can talk to the parents, can talk to the child, and come up with a plan. Also, I envision social workers utilizing our training room downstairs. Parental classes, signs to look for drug use, alcohol use, gang use, bullying, peer pressure. There's things that I've suggested while I've been chief. Can you guys do this? Can you implement that? And to be quite honestly, I got nothing in return. So I see, in effect, it's happening in all police departments around, not just around Prospect Heights, but in the whole state of Illinois. That's the direction it's going. We need a full-time social worker who works for the police department, who can come to the chief, and the chief go to the social worker and say, I'd like you to work on this. or have a bin so that our officers can, if they identify anybody in the early, where they're in that stage where they're just getting involved in bad influences, give that to the social worker. Hey, social worker, can you call these parents? Can you go meet with them? There's so much that can be done. And I'm gonna give you one more example. And again, I'm not doing this to bash our social workers, but if I'm going to be honest, so that we can compare apples to apples, you'll know what I'm talking about. I wanted to start an initiative with our homeless. We have probably 6 to 8 homeless on the east side. They literally live under the bridge. They don't want an apartment. They honestly don't. But what they do want, they want blankets, they want winter coats, because how they live is they can sleep in hallways on really cold nights. They're friends in the hallways. We get called, they gotta go. Sometimes they stay in their apartments, sleep in a spare room or on the living room. But I just wanted to start an initiative where we get their names, we get a contact number for somebody in their home country, wherever that is. What country are you from? Hey, if you're ever lost, or God forbid you die, who do we call, right? Let me bring you a winter coat. Let me bring you a couple bottles of water. You're not in any trouble. If you guys are gonna stay here, we know you're here. In other words, this is the police department, social worker. We know you're here. Let's get some information. And I've been trying to do that for a couple months, and it's not going anywhere. Partly, I think it's because the whole flexibility thing, and they don't really work for Prospect Heights, they work for Omni. And so I was told, well, talk to this organization, they deal with homeless. And I'm like, well, I'm the chief of police, and this is the initiative I want to start for Prospect Heights. And so I got a lot of feedback, negative feedback on some of that. So I think having our own social worker is vital to the future of this police department. Let me also say again, remind you guys that I know I've asked for things, and you guys, the council have been tremendous in giving me what I think we need to make our department and city better. We really do need this, and it's not that much more. The budget for the full-timer and part-timer this year is $84,300 something. We're not, I would say for the first year, it might be about equal. And I will reiterate that I am gonna brag on my frugalness. I've saved the city, I should have come with some, I've saved the city thousands and thousands of dollars already in 7 months. Just because I see, I'm a deal, I look for deals, not cheap, because we're cheaping, we're cheap if we stay with Omni. That's being cheap, to be quite honest with you. But we need quality. And I think hiring outside, it will make a social worker, we're looking for quality social workers. Social workers don't do this to be rich. They do it because it's in their heart to want to help and want to be part of something. And whoever this person may be, it's exciting for them, I would think, because we've never had a full-timer, and it's limitless what they can do, the impact they can make on the city and on the youth, and starting programs. I've got ideas, but I can't do it on my own. Other officers have ideas. I just think it's so important and social workers, good social workers, do it for the love of helping, not just a paycheck. And so the hiring process will be just that. We're looking at the heart. We're not looking at your resume. We're not going to be looking at what school you went to. I will be looking at the heart and what's really behind you wanting to come here and get this program going. So I will take any questions if you have any.
Anybody have any questions for the chief? Go ahead.
in the past, we always, only because of the turnover, not turnover, that's the wrong word. Only because of I got old and a lot of people retired and there's new people at the police department now. We always used to have like the language barrier. And it always seemed like the social worker was the bridge to a lot of the language, languages that we needed to know for you guys to do your job. But I know that a lot of the new hires, we have a lot of different languages spoken by the new hires. So is that a concern anymore that you?
Well, the person would, we do have way more Spanish speakers than we did 10 years ago.
Police officers, you talk.
Police officers. But the social worker would have to be, you would have to speak Spanish. That's going to be one of the requirements because most of the people on the east side speak Spanish. And or Polish. It's nice to have Casey for Polish, but we also have a part-time police officer who speaks Polish as well. So he could also be used for that. But I would say 90% of our social service referrals is Hispanic. So that's definitely going to be important.
Anyone else? First of all, I appreciate your frugalness, but just for clarification purposes, this is within the budget as far as hiring outside for this position.
Yes.
Okay.
And Joe sent out some information. Again, depending on the benefit package this person chooses, but if the starting salary were to be roughly 70,000, it's, there's the budget, we're already budgeted for 84.3 right today.
Okay. And my other question is, would this new person continue to be involved in whatever the term would be, like court proceedings, like helping them get an order of protection, things
Sure.
like that the current, or,
That person would do the same and more.
okay,
That social worker would be on call, and which is what I was trying to instill in our other social workers. If there is an emergency, the police department will call you. If you need to call somebody, we will call you to say, hey, call somebody. If we need you to come in for an order of protection, or if we have children that we're taking custody of, we call you. So that'll still be an important factor, is that you're going to be on call at any time. But the big part of it is the initiatives that we need to start, we need to have. That's missing today. And that's going to pay off. That's going to pay off down the road sooner than I think, and you all might be thinking that, because we have a substation on Piper Lane that's never been used for any meetings, counseling. We have an office there that we can utilize. We have a training room at our station that we could hold 30, 40 people. That it could be used for all kinds of education classes and meeting with the police officers, letting the parents hear what's on our hearts instead of the children manipulating their parents on who we are. And I'll tell you, the summer outreach program has done that, a lot of it. That the kids see that we're out there and when we volunteer and wearing our street clothes, that we're just human beings that care, that's all. I mean, and I know this for a fact, some of the gang members don't like their siblings going to those things because it shows that exact reason is, no, I've been with them. They're not what you say that they are. So the social worker can do the same thing. The social worker has the ability to tell these parents and educate these parents on our role. So I'm really looking forward to it. If that would happen, I'm not going to promise you I won't be in here asking for anything else, but for a while there, I'm telling you, it's a tremendous thing. I'm honored if we can do that. I promise you, we will pick the right person. It's just like in police work. If you don't have the heart to be a police officer, you can be one, but everyone's gonna know you're just here to collect a check. And that's not a good thing.
I have a question. Now you were talking about how many homeless people that are across the
Got
street?
about 6 to 8 people that live under sometimes under the bridge.
Yeah.
If you go further east on Palatine frontage off of Milwaukee, if you look to the left.
Yeah, I see them some come out sometimes.
And I'll tell you that a lot of the restaurants, they feed them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been down there, Bravo Bakery, they got bread, they got baskets full of pastries and bread. It's sad. They don't, but that's their lifestyle. They don't want to be, they don't want to be housed. They don't want a job. I mean, I'm not kidding you when I tell you this. Sometimes you just shake your head and you go, wow. Yeah, there's some that are alcoholics, which is the main reason for that. I would say mental health is not the reason they're homeless. I think it's the alcoholism.
Well, the times that it gets really cold is we have like a heating location for,
Well, no. And you won't, on really, really cold days, you won't find them there. You'll find them inside somebody's, they're friends with a lot of people on the east side of Piper Lane. And the good citizens say, come on in, I'll let you sleep here, overnight, but then you gotta go when in the morning. So if there were more than 6 to 8, it'd be a huge problem, but it's not.
okay. Yeah.
But
Because I know like this, I know the city of Chicago, they have heating locations.
Well, our station is, but they're gonna want to go. But see,
Yeah.
this is something the social worker can start, you start building that
Yes,
relationship.
exactly.
Maybe some of them do want to go to a shelter, but from a distance, how do you know? Right?
Correct.
You don't know until you start that, you offer them a coat, some blankets, and now they're thinking, hey, they're not that bad. And,
All those things.
the only time we have issues with them is if they're panhandling at the plaza. We have to tell them you have to leave. You gotta go.
Okay.
And so that's really, and they listen for a little bit and then they come back, but, we don't wanna arrest them for that. I mean,
Yeah.
where are they gonna go? But if somebody calls,
You don't
they have
want
to
to word on this.
Okay, and then the other thing is Indian Trails Library. There's that little library over there
Right.
in back of McDonald's. Do any of the kids go over there at all?
What-
Can we use the library for little meetings for the kids? Because I think they have like computers around the back. If I remember correctly.
They do use that as a homework center for the kids. You're not
Yeah.
talking about for the homeless.
No,
right?
no,
Oh, yeah.
for the kids.
Yeah,
for the kids.
they use that. They
Okay.
go there. They have a homework center there.
Okay.
It's not very big though.
No, it's not. It's kind
like
of small.
4 desktops is about it.
Yeah, because I figure maybe they have like a little meeting or whatever, like a small group. I don't know if there would be enough.
That's another thing that, like, we're talking after school, like, kids camp, when I was young, we had a youth camp, youth groups. Something this social worker with his or her connections can start, a faith-based, organization. Not sure where they would, what building they'd use, possibly River Trails, they got a big gym there, I don't know.
Yeah, we used to do something like that where kids would come play basketball for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's a huge gym, it's not being used, it's kind of sad, but
oh, it's being used.
is it?
Yeah, parties and meetings. So, okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, Chief, for that presentation. We appreciate it. Thank you. Tonight, there are no appointments or confirmations. Public comments on agenda matters. Madam Clerk or Deputy Clerk, is there anyone registered for agenda items? Or does anyone wish to speak?
We do have someone for.
I have no one
non-agenda.
registered.
Okay.
Oh,
And you had someone for non-agenda?
Yes, we have
Okay.
one person for non-agenda.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. Could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or request to clarify anything on the consent agenda? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Ludvixson,
Aye.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. There is no old business. New business, item 9A, staff memo and resolution authorizing the city of Prospect Heights to purchase a parcel at 214 South Wheeling in Prospect Heights for a purchase price of $365,000 in conjunction with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District's flood-prone property acquisition program. Joe, if you'd like to.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. The city council is familiar with this, as we brought this to the council for previous authorization, both for the MWRD grant as well as participation with the Park District, as the city isn't going to own the land. This is a property that has flooded 5 times, and it's caused structural damage to the home. It qualifies for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District's flood-prone property program. And that is a competitive process. After council authorization, we submitted our application, and it scored highly. So it was green-lighted by MWRD to proceed. The property is next to Tully Park, so this also fits a community goal. Tully Park, as you're aware, it doesn't have access. I don't even think there's signage there. It's kind of like an Area 51 park. This, working with the Park District, which will reimburse the city for expenses. But the main thing is the MWRD support of this. It's roughly, I think, 96% of the purchase price. There are ancillary costs to the community, such as the demolition of the home. But essentially, this is going to get an improved Tully Park for a nominal amount. And we've worked with the homeowner to make sure that that's communicated. And at this point, we actually have an agreement for the sale of the property. I can't say enough about all the participants in this. The MWRD, without their support, this wouldn't be able to happen. Neither city or the Park District could afford this. And then also the homeowner, Mrs. Lutton, has been fantastic to deal with. And also our community partner, the Prospect Heights Park District. And thankfully, it's going to create an improved Tully Park. So tonight is after a couple of years of all kinds of applications, authorizations, and so forth. It's actually the point of approving the purchase.
All right, thank you, Joe. Could I begin with a motion to approve?
So moved, Morgan Adams.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other additional discussion or questions for Joe?
Yes, quick question.
Yeah.
Well, for Joe and Dan, when this lot when the house is taken out, if it does provide access to Tully Park, have we made any consideration for the neighbor to be an existing, I don't know what the term is, non-conforming lot for the purposes of being able to do what they want with their lot, as if they were 100 feet of road frontage on Wheeling Road, and they don't become affected so that they have a negative effect on what they can do with their property now, because you've taken this house away and now have made them like a corner side lot. 'Cause we had that on Casa Lane when that went in. We agreed with the homeowner off of Kent McDonald to make sure that he was assured that he'd be able to keep the rights he had.
Dan?
That's a great question. I believe with this particular property and its location, I was trying to pull it up on the map here. They would, that neighboring property, you're talking to the one that's to the north of the property. That would not lose its interior because the 214 stays as a singular lot. It may be converted to parking or an access. It's not a public roadway. So when we first discussed this, I looked at this more as everything else remains the same for, I believe that's at 210 or 212.
212, yeah.
Yes, I believe that would stay exactly, they have the same rights as they would have anyway because it's not a public thoroughfare.
Yeah, I mean, I could name places where things have come up in the past, and it was like it gets something happens, it gets forgotten. I'll give you an example, the Camp McDonald fence issue. I mean, things get forgotten, and then, if nobody's there to say, hey, no, this person's right. If the property changes hands, that's one thing, but for the existing person, it can get kind of frustrating to say, wait, you did this, and now I don't have that right. So I guess it's more just, we gotta keep that in mind, because we could put a street in there, not us, but there could be access created.
Well, I believe, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, the intent of this is then to transfer the parking to the park district, so it'd be like a single-family lot abutting any other park. They don't lose their rights, their anything that they have now on their lot just because they're adjoining to a park.
Not yet, until somebody requests a change because that came off the rolls as being a house, or zoning wise to be a house, and somebody says it's not a house, I can do this, and it kind of morphs. I'm not saying we have to do anything, I'm just saying.
But
keep that in mind.
I'm trying to think of, and we don't have a lot of parks that, but right up on back off of Prospect Court, there's a couple houses that are back, but the school playground back there. Those folks never lost any of their rights as a
Right.
single-family house, and that's how I'd approach this, just because it's another governmental entity that owns that lot, and they use it for access, maybe they create parking, then it's up to the park district to meet the parking requirements and the screening and everything else, not the existing homeowner to the north.
I want to jump in here right now because there's a deed restriction by MWRD that it can't be used either as a structure or for parking.
Okay.
That would defeat the purpose of taking this property out of the floodplain. So essentially, we're looking at this as more green space for Tully Park.
So it always will remain a lot, it'll always keep its designation as a 100 by 200. It's not gonna be absorbed into Tully Park and become one big parcel.
Oh, I think that's the plan.
They will do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's for,
I know they're gonna do that
Expanded.
in order to use it, but I
Yeah.
mean legally to become a single pin, changing it up. I'm making a bigger deal about this
Yeah.
now. I'm just saying because I've seen this happen, it happened at Casa Lane, I just wanna make sure, that the person living there now is not even thinking of that. But at some point when they wanna put a fence up and Dan's out here and somebody says, hey, wait, you can't do that because you're not
you border a park.
border apart, right, right. That's all, I just wanted to bring it up.
We have the ability now, if anybody boarding in a park would like to come and talk to us about fence, we will talk to them about fences.
All right, any
Thank
other
you.
questions or discussion? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Ludvitson,
Aye.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Item 9B, staff memo and resolution authorizing the initiation of police social worker position and approving associated recruitment and selection process. This is what we just had discussion on with our police chief. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or any other questions? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Ludvitson,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 5-0. Item 9C, staff memo and resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Prospect Heights and Prospect Heights Park District for the construction, operation, and maintenance of a compensatory storage area in Prospect Heights. And here again, Joe, do you have anything to add? I know we've covered much of this.
Just for anybody that might be watching for public benefit, this is related to the Willow Road flood control project that we're working with MWRD and the county. As the city council's aware, in significant rainstorms, this area floods frequently. I think in 2020, I believe it was closed for 9 days. It's kind of a neighborhood connector street, so it's important. It's also emergency access. So that's the purpose of it, is for this project. For the project to do this, we have to have compensatory storage and demonstrate that to MWRD. We've had conversations with MWRD and their permitting officials. They've accepted this. We have to give it conceptual approval. We still have to go through the detailed permitting process. But this is one crucial step that gets us closer to doing the Willow Road, raise the grade of Willow Road as well as Owen, so that we, essentially the water that now stands or flows over the roadway will go under it. It's not going to change the hydrology of the lake or anything, but this is a crucial component of doing the larger project.
All right, thank you. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Are there any other areas of discussion on this?
Just that it was a very good, out-of-the-box kind of solution to a problem that you keep looking at the problem, you don't look around, you can't, somebody figured out to look around and found a solution to the Willow Road project. So that's, whoever that was or however that happened, good job.
We'll credit Mark Roscoe and Dan Strand for that. They looked at, we're an urbanized community, there's not a lot of open space that we could do this, and they looked at a number of different models, and that's,
Because a year ago, we were, it was a dead end,
it was.
No,
so.
this is very good for the project to be able to proceed.
Mm-hmm, yes. All right, thank you. Could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Ludwigson,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Item 9D, staff memo and resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Prospect Heights and our Redeemer Lutheran Church for a license and easement agreement. This is something that we've worked on a good bit in the past, and the church was very receptive to this. Joe, do you have anything else to add?
This is the same purpose, and I also I want to compliment, it's one of the factors that makes it a great community. Both of these agencies were incredibly understanding of the need and stepped up to help us with this. It's also an opportunity to help a local church, and what church doesn't need a new parking lot or so too? So there are some benefits to this. The dollar amount is based on square footage of stormwater space. About $51,000 payment within budget is to the church, $12,700 to the park district, and we are very complimentary and thankful to to both agencies.
All right, thank you. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Morgan Adams.
Second, Cameron.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any additional questions? If not, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Ludwigson,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Dash.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Brings us to item 10, staff and elected officials reports. I will start with Ward 1, Michelle Cameron.
I have no report, but I just wanted to wish everyone, next week happy Thanksgiving and, enjoy it with your friends and family, so.
Thank you. Ward 2, Pat
No
Levin.
report, but I echo those comments.
Ward 3, Wendy Morgan Adams.
I also would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and to make sure everyone's aware that, that there's a holiday tree lighting ceremony at Gary Morava Parks, Morava Center, which is the Prospect Heights Park District, on November 26th at 5 p.m. Saturday, November 26th.
Yes, thank you. Ward 4, Danielle Dash.
No report.
From my ward, Ward 5, I just wanted to thank everyone who was involved. We had a joint meeting this past week with the police department, the police chief, deputy chief, and 2 of their detectives, along with myself, Joe Wade, and many of the property managers on the east side. We have had some increases in some safety issues over there, and I think we did have a productive meeting. As I have mentioned to Joe, we do not have just a magic pill that can cure all of the problems, but I think it was a big step forward in our communication process, and everyone was appreciative of that. So thank you, everyone. City Treasurer Rich Tibbetts.
I'd also like to echo the reminder about the November 25th tree lighting ceremony over at the Park District.
Microphone.
Yeah.
In the
we can't hear
code.
you,
Hear
Rich.
you.
Sorry?
Or if you want to step out here, if you can.
What's the matter?
No,
Is
we
your
couldn't
mic
hear you.
on?
Got your mic on?
No, it didn't come through.
Okay, I just.
Thank you.
Catherine, turn up the podium mic, please. I'm trying to be a little more judicious about the microphones. Testing, 1, 2, yeah, there we go. I'd just like to remind everybody about the November 25th tree lighting ceremony, also echoing what Wendy had to say, because Patrick and I will be over at the Park District shooting video and recording and photos, and recording the children that are going to come and sing Christmas carols, and also our mayor, who will be flipping the big switch to turn on the lights on the Christmas tree.
Yes, I won't be singing, but I will
No?
flip the switch.
Anyway, I hope everybody can come. Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk Joanna Prasiashnik.
Yes, hi. I wanted to thank everyone who came to the Taco Maya ribbon cutting. It was a very nice ceremony. We had Mike Putz, the executive director of Wheeling Chamber, had joined us too. Very supportive individual, really is working hard to help all the Prospect Heights businesses. We'll certainly be doing more in the coming year. I've been extremely busy with my business, but I promised to, go arm in arm with them if I have to, and help our businesses get more help through the chamber. So in another area of support, since I've been traveling a lot throughout Cook County, helping and throughout my Medicare situation with clients, I was pleasantly surprised that many government facilities, villages, obviously on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, the Ukrainian flag is flown in many areas to show the nation's support. And to quote Timothy Snyder, just something I'd just like to share, because I really feel it would be nice. We have such a huge European representation in our community that hopefully if we can get the city council's approval, that we do the same. And again, just to quote Timothy Snyder, he states, and he is a professor at Yale University teaching Ukrainian history. He says, Ukraine is maybe the most important place in the world right now. And the fate of freedom writ large on really what really happens there. So please, in your thoughts, as we give thanks for our freedom as well, to do the same. Today, it was Stone Park that I saw, actually. The village of Stone Park had it. So I couldn't help but be a little, wonder if we could do the same. Thank you. Any comments, please let me know.
All right, thank you. Other officials, City Administrator Joe Wade.
No report. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. Assistant Administrator Peter Falcone.
No reports, sir, but happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you. Finance Director report.
A couple of comments. We're reviewing the 2022 tax levy ordinance and expect to have that finalized this week. We're expecting that the first reading of the ordinance is going to be at the November 28 meeting, with the second reading and approval at the December 12 meeting. That'll be it.
All right, thank you, sir. Director of Building and Development, Peterson.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Alderman. It's the season to change our batteries and our smoke detectors. If you still have battery-operated smoke detectors, this is the time. Furnaces go on, alternate heating sources, and we want our people to be safe. Additionally, should residents have any questions on proper fall maintenance, they can contact our office, and myself or any of the inspectors would be happy to give them tips and just have a safe fall. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
I had one question for you, Dan or Director Roscoe. Do you have any update on the cell tower behind the fire department? I know it's undergoing some construction and a number of things going on. Do you have any update?
Yes. Past week, T-Mobile went to install their new antenna array. They have been approved to be one of the co-locators to improve their current stuff. And when they went over there, they observed some issues with the structure of the tower, mainly caused by wind damage and some structural. So those are being assessed by Crown Castle. It appears that the tower will be coming down, if it hasn't yet, temporarily, to assess those and then come back. I've been waiting for a phone call today from the fire district because they need some secondary source to get their antennas to the 100-foot level, which is part of their safety system. So there's a lot of moving parts at this time, and that's what I've been updated with.
Okay, thank you. That's all I was looking for. Public Works Director Mark Roscoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Works is moving full force towards the next season, and it sounds like it's coming tonight. And hopefully it goes away as soon as it comes in. But we're going to have a little bit of that just to remind folks about winter driving and slip, trip, and fall, things that do happen, even from your home to your car. We've been working diligently with our contractors on our sewer program. This is a January, February timeframe. We'll be doing some sewer work with the lining that was approved this evening. That's the timeframe we're expecting. And the holiday tree lighting, Saturday night, 5 p.m. It's the city tree lighting held at the Gary Morava Center. Cooperation between the city, the park, the fire department, the police department, and Lions Club, Garden Club, everybody that helps make this community a great place. Look forward to seeing as many people there as possible. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Police Chief Caponegro.
No new report. I do want to thank Joe Wade and the council members for the approval of the social worker. I think it's gonna enhance police department, the city's connection with the city, and it's gonna help us a lot. I really am thankful, much appreciated, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. Hope everything goes well, and there's no Uncle Bob's that fight with y'all when you're there. We all got one of those. So, hope it's a peaceful Thanksgiving, and again, thank you so much for the support you've given the police department. Every one of our officers knows that we have a council and staff, mayor, that they really appreciate what we do, and I appreciate it as well. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Deputy Clerk Schulteis
Just happy Thanksgiving, thank you.
and Attorney Jim Hess.
No report, thank you.
And Digital Communications Technician Patrick Colvin.
No report, thank you.
All right, thank you. The next item is the discussion topics. Tonight we do have one discussion topic. Before we start into that, I just wanted to let people know, you may have seen in Joe's report this past week that we have been talking about making a change to this in terms of having a separate meeting at least twice a year to discuss these topics outside of these city council meetings, so that we can just address city business at these meetings, but we will still have topics to discuss. So we will get into the details of that at a later time, but I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. But tonight, we do have the item, the review of the city liquor code, and Pat?
We did have
We did have.
the review of that item. I've spoken to Peter and Joe and let them know that I'm still working on it.
Okay. Then we
I
will-
have a memo from, I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, that I'm trying to revive. Been so long since it happened, I think I want to say my position has changed, but I think I've got to blunt the edges a little bit. I was a little too full of, whatever you call it, at that time when I wrote that one, that it's probably a little more than I would do now. So I promise to work with Joe and Peter on that.
Okay, fair enough. We appreciate your continued efforts on this, so we will.
Will we have some kind of a memo before we have that workshop meeting on that issue?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
I have a memo, I'm just revising it
okay,
a little bit.
Great.
So basically, it's just, I mean, the long and short of the liquor issue is that it's very, like, it's kind of all over the place. It's like a quilt rather than a company, you know? It's like pieces all put together, things overlap, there's things we don't do anymore, hours are all over the place, some people are treated differently within the licensing. I
Right.
just like it it's more, not really a change, but just more of a restatement, you know,
Okay.
so that it's a little more uniform. Nothing crazy.
Okay, that makes that easy. But again, we appreciate your continued work on that.
Thank
The next order of business is the approval of warrants. Madam Clerk?
Okay. We have a total for the warrants amounted to $2,079,992.71. Wire payments on October 21st, 2022 payroll amounted to $181,195.99. On November 1st, 2022 payroll longevity amounted to $19,346. On October 4th, 2022 payroll amounted to $209,783.80, bringing the total warrant to $2,510,624.57 for council's approval tonight, please.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved, Morgan Adams.
Second?
We have,
Before we have a roll
And I
call,
was just going to ask if you have any
sorry.
corrections or comments? Yeah, go right ahead.
I just want to ask what longevity means, where it says payroll longevity.
Oh, those follow union contracts. If a person has been here 8 years, 10 years, there's escalated payment. That's
Oh, okay.
it's,
That's what it means,
yeah.
okay. That's why I didn't understand totally what that was
Okay.
referring to. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
it's an annual payment.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Are there any other questions or corrections? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Jolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye?
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Ludvixson,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Item 14, public comments on non-agenda matters, and I believe we do have one person.
Yes. Her name is Sandra Charrier, if I'm saying that correctly.
Uh, Hi. If you could just state your name and address, and then,
Sandra Chariez. I live at 828 East Old Willow Road, in the Willow Heights complex. And the reason why I'm here is we are very concerned about what is the safety, the security of our complex. We have been noticing just recently, I've just lived in this Prospect Heights for 6 years. Never have I seen a problem until this year. And I don't know if it's because of the COVID, everybody's going crazy, but for the past few weeks, we have had nothing but shootings in our complex. We are trying to figure out what we as homeowners can do, what you can do for us to help us with the security issue.
If I could,
If you want to, I could talk.
I would, actually, I'll let our chief address that.
Well, thank you for coming here, ma'am. We met actually at your clubhouse last week with Sherry, your HOA manager. I know it's not going to come to any comfort to you when I tell you the shootings weren't actually in your complex, but they were adjacent to your complex.
We did, some of it was in our complex, because my next door neighbor did have his truck tire shot out.
Right,
So
yeah.
I don't know if it came,
Yeah, it was, so what is happening and what we had a meeting also with the high school, Wheeling High School. Most of our teenagers that live in that area attend Wheeling High School. And you're right, I don't know if it's the residual of COVID, but there is some craziness happening.
Yes.
But I want you to know that for the last 2 weekends, we have saturated the east side. And when I say that, I mean we typically have 3 to 4 officers. We have had 7, even 8 officers.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
And
I have noticed
yeah, and we also have,
police going through the parking lot during the day, but we need them more at nighttime.
they go through there at nighttime. You may not see them. We go through there at nighttime. We do go through there. You're probably sleeping when we go through there, because we're 24/7. We talked about, going back to the saturation, we've also contacted Cook County, and they're busy everywhere, as you can imagine, because Cook County is part of Chicago. So Cook County Sheriffs, they came through, they were here for about 30 minutes Friday, and Saturday, 30, 45 minutes, and then they were off to the city. We are meeting with our residents this Thursday on Piper Lane. And we're going to talk about safety. We're also going to talk to them about not being fearful to call 911. Remain anonymous. We will not come to your door. We will not call you if you see something. You have to say something. We want to get that neighborhood involved in taking that neighborhood back. We can't do it on our own. We've made several arrests. Hopefully you'll take a little comfort in this. It's gangs, okay? It's gangs. They usually run in cycles. They usually have a beef, and gun violence is up, not just here, but everywhere. Again, our community, we have 3 to 4 police officers. Our sergeants actually handle calls. They're working sergeants. I wish I could tell you, ma'am, that we will have 5 officers in Willow Heights tomorrow, but we cannot. But for a little department, if you were to ask other police departments around, we do a lot. We do a lot with the little that we do have, but we are addressing it. I do want you to know that. We've talked to your manager about some things that could be done, and I guarantee you already know. We've suggested a wrought iron fence. We've suggested some better lighting and some cameras in Willow Heights. That's been
We also thought about having cameras put in the park behind us.
Yes, we talked with somebody who's River Trails superintendent. He's on board with that.
Right.
They're
Yeah,
in the
Brett.
process. It's going to take some time, but they're investing a lot of money into that park. Lighting and camera, 2 of the things that they will be doing. I can't tell you it's going to be done tomorrow, but they are going to be doing that. I've referred Sherry to a relatively inexpensive quality camera company. And I think with a wrought iron fence, maybe 7-foot fence, and the
Yeah,
city's,
because
the
that's,
city is willing to extend the height limit, from what I was told, at least talk about it. But it'll beautify the fence line, it's, that chain link, it's, bolt cutters will, it's
yeah,
almost,
that- they just
they're just
had
gonna
fixed
cut it
the
again
fence,
and
and the
again
next day
and
they
again. But I
did
do
it
want
again.
you to know, we took this very seriously. We arrested a couple weeks ago one of the main rival gang members to the gangs, few gangs, members that are on Piper Lane, adjacent to your complex. So we're working on it, and we know who they are. We're watching them. We're zero tolerance. We're working with the schools to help them identify who the problem few are. And believe it or not, when I tell you there's a few, there's probably, I'm gonna tell you, between 7 and 10. It's not like there's 50, 60, 100 gang members running around acting buck wild, but they are buck wild, and we're taking it very seriously. My deputy chief suited up, he was out there 2 weeks ago. I was out there Saturday night. So we hear you, and we sympathize with you, and we're on it. I can just tell you that, and I'm sure that.
Well, we also were wondering if there was some way that the city council could help with trying to do a community, I don't know.
A neighborhood watch.
Neighborhood watch, yes, thank you. Yes,
Well, I'll tell you, it could start with each complex, Willow Heights included, Willow Woods, or Willow Falls, Country River Trails, Country Pine. That's typically, the council has nothing to do with that, but police officers, if you all are willing and you say we would like a neighborhood watch, with definitely, we can help you get involved in that and give you some parameters on how to go about it. But it's a voluntary position that if you get enough, maybe you could see who's interested in Willow Heights, and contact me, contact the chief and say, hey, I got a few people who are willing, and then we'd be more than happy to meet with you. And there's, basically what we would tell you to do is have some eyes and ears and call us. Please don't do anything on your own.
right.
But I can tell you we're there. Just because you don't see us, it does not mean we're there. I've been hit with the police department for 24 years. Willow Heights we go through the complexes. Our east side is 7102B. That's east of Wolf Road to Milwaukee. From Palatine Road over to Old Willow Road. It's not that big, so we're going through there constantly. Again, we might just have one car or two, and the other car is on the west side of town. So that's the dynamics of the police department, but we're handling it, I promise you that.
And if I could just reiterate what the chief said, if you see something, for you or any resident, if you see something suspicious, please call 911. Don't just tell your management office the next morning. If you see somebody spray painting graffiti, don't tell the maintenance guy.
Yeah.
Call 911 so that can be stopped. And another thing that the chief said that I'm very impressed with is that the chief and deputy chief have gone out on their own after their day shift. You'd be hard pressed to find any other department where the chief himself is going out on patrol. So we have seen the same thing that you were bringing up tonight. So we are taking it very seriously, and the entire city, especially our department, is taking this very seriously. And we appreciate you speaking tonight. So thank you.
And again, the meeting, the neighborhood meeting is 7 p.m. Thursday.
Yes, at River Trails Park.
So that's an opportunity for you, but as well as people from the other complexes too, so.
And just really quick,
And
Mr. Mayor, it's not just the east side. I mean, the whole council is, on board to do whatever it takes to address this. So I don't want you to think it's just like only your ward needs to be concerned with it, the entire.
Right.
This has been a topic in the city for a while now, and it's a big deal. And I don't care how far west you live of where Willow Heights is, or Willow Woods, everybody's concerned about it. This is a big deal to everybody, so we do want to resolve it.
I think probably in the last couple weeks, you've taken a few guns off of
Yes.
people.
Yes,
What you saw tonight, the police social worker is big.
yes.
We recognize not just Prospect Heights, but as a society, we can't arrest our way out of this problem. And we're finding that there are 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. We've got to find another way to reach them, aside from police intervention. So,
I'm gonna follow up what you just said. While I was out working in plain clothes Saturday night, myself and Detective Lane approached a car that was parked, the lights on. It was a former gang member that I have not seen in 3 years. He looked good. He said, I'm out of the gangs. And here's what he told us. He said, when I was younger, the love that I didn't get from my family,
Yeah.
I got from the gang. And then I realized when I was in trouble, they weren't there. They were not there for me. He gained like 50 pounds. He said he's a sous chef now.
great.
I said, that is so good to hear. I'm glad he talked about some of the dealings he's had with myself and Detective Lang, and he kind of laughed about it, but he's out. He's out of the gang. He said, why do you think I'm parked over here, not over further down? So he's like, I'm waiting for a friend. And so, again, that social worker goes a long way. The school, we recognize that the school and the support the school and the counselors can give, again, we can't arrest our way out of it. So it's got to start, it starts in the school, it starts with social workers, and it starts with educating the parents. Because some of these parents are believing the rhetoric that these kids are telling them, that the police don't care and they're this or that. But again, the proof is in the pudding when we're out there for, I think, going on 17, 18 years, and we're taking these kids out on field trips during the summer, 6, 7 field trips, 60, 70, 80 kids. We're invested in them. And unfortunately, all throughout the years, I've seen some of those kids that have been on those outings, just a few, now they're gang members. And now I see them in a different light, and they see me in a different light. I remember when you were going to the zoo with us, and now they're representing gangs. So it's multifaceted. It's not just police hang out more and be seen more. But I understand your concern, and we're doing the best we can. I literally created like this hire back where police officers are coming in on their off days and working to create a presence. This weekend, there was nothing going on. You know why? Because we had 7 or 8 of us out there, but we can't do that every week. That's just the economics of it, sadly.
So we appreciate your speaking up this evening. We do appreciate that, and we are working very hard at solving this problem.
Right.
So thank you.
And all of us on the council do support this. Just wanted you to know that. So it's not just one alderman, it's all of us as aldermen.
Yes. So thank you again for
Thank you
coming
very
in.
much.
Thank you for coming. No, I'm glad you did. Ma'am, here's my card too, by the way. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Tonight, there is no executive session, which brings us to adjournment. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Morgan Adams?
Second, Cameron.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. And we are adjourned. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.